What's up, guys? Welcome to Roensch Capital Charts. Today we're taking a look at SoFi stock, ticker symbol SOFI, on a variety of time frames in anticipation of the next trading day, Friday, May 10th. All right, guys, SoFi stock here today up 1 cent per share. Big old green day, up 0.14%. In regular trading hours, it's up another penny after hours, whatever. Volume's very low. Listen, let's take a deeper look at this thing. Let's take a look at the volume profile, because at the end of the day, it was essentially flat today, but we had a little bit of intraday movement, so we can kind of look at the volume and see if there's anything sticking out, or if there really isn't much at all. Both of those are worth knowing, by the way. We'll take a look at the psychological levels moving forward that the institutions and the retail traders, the money moving this thing, are going to be watching. So we need to be paying attention as well. We'll take a look at the implied volatility for you options traders, the expected move, and we'll finish out with the directional bias for tomorrow out of the chain. So let's get started here, starting with that volume profile on the 5-minute. Listen, by the way, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. SoFi is today's wildcard stock yet again. My goal here in the near term is 10,000 subs, so I appreciate you subscribing, and I'll keep the videos coming every day. Now, SoFi is going to have slightly lighter volume than some of the other stocks we look at, so it's going to look a little bit different if you've been watching the more, bigger, like big blue chip names that have a ton of volume. SoFi is a little bit lighter, so it's a little bit choppier, but you can see here that these two bars really picked up in volume, and that looks scary to some bulls, and that looks very encouraging to some bears, along with these two, right? Here's my problem. This big bar, notice how it's very wicky. The problem with wicky, especially when they're like intraday low bars, the problem with that is it was trying to wick below $7 a share, and it kept getting bought back up, which drives volume higher. Okay, so we can kind of say, without a doubt, that a lot of the volume on that bar was also, or was buying volume as well. It just happened to be a red candle made up of a lot of buying and a lot of selling volume. So I find it hard to include those bars that have giant wicks, whether they're green or red, in any kind of bias analysis. So I can't assign any there. These two, there's too much of a risk of fooled by randomness. They're outliers, single bar outliers, and I can see from here that both of those have relatively large wicks. Moving through the day into the close, we had a little bit of an uptick into the close, but honestly, guys, there's nothing. We expect an increase in volume into the close. There is nothing here today in terms of bias on the volume profile, and it's essentially a flat day, so we need to move on. Let's take a look at the psychological levels on each particular chart that we need to pay attention to, starting with the 30-minute. Now, if you guys were here for yesterday's SoFi video, we were struggling to reclaim that 50 period here on the 30-minute. Today, we have now held above both. The 50 period was coming downside, and we reclaimed it today, with both of these levels now sitting at essentially the exact same spot, 1 penny apart. So listen, this 30 minutes really simple here tomorrow, bulls. Any retest of both of these levels, I want to see those hold as support. Ideally, getting the 50 period to curl upside, not for the sake of crossing back over the 200 period. I don't care about crossovers. I think they're absolutely overhyped. What I'm interested in is the psychology surrounding the levels, and the 50 period being a quicker moving average than the 200 period. I want it to get up underneath the stock as fast as possible. All right. Now, bears, a high volume break downside through both of those. Low volume retest to whichever one happens to be lower at the time, and then a high volume rejection to reclaim both of those as resistance levels, at least in the short term, would be a great way to start heading down towards $7 a share, or through it. All right. Now, the 4-hour chart, if we take a look here, you can see very much so in play as well. Now, that white line, that 50 period, it has been a struggle attempting to reclaim that thing. So listen, bears, any repeat of what we've currently been seeing is beautiful, because here on the 4-hour, you see what's happening. That white line, that 50 is coming lower and lower and lower, and the closer we get to 7. So if you can just continue to reject that 50 period a few more times, if not one more time, that can help be the kicker that pushes this thing below $7 a share. Bulls, does hearing that make you a little bit nervous? That's what we don't want to happen, right? We'll talk about 7 in a second here. But if we can rip upside through the 50 period on the 4 hour, as soon as possible, right, and reclaim that as support, that's what we want to see happen. Now, speaking of 7, the daily chart. Listen, guys, $7 is the biggest story here on SoFi right now. It has been the story for the last couple of weeks. It's the story here still. Bears. Another day, another opportunity to crack it to the downside and hold it. Bulls. Another day, another opportunity to see a hold of support off of any retest at all. I want to see 7 hold if we test it anytime here in the near future, especially tomorrow. But listen, Bears, if you guys can crack that thing to the downside heading into the weekend, that's a good position to set yourself up in heading into next week. All right, now implied volatility here, guys, compared to the last couple of months, again, it is low. It's slightly elevated here the last couple of days, but it's still very low compared to the last couple of months. Okay, if you're getting IV crushed, again, there's your culprit. And if you're looking to buy new calls or new puts, you're paying less Vega value right now because IV is so low. That can be a good thing. All right. Now, expected move as we head into tomorrow, guys. We have an expiration tomorrow. That makes our life easy here on Thursdays. Now, the expected move by tomorrow's close compared to today's close is plus or minus 11 cents a share. Okay, that means that the market, the volatility expectation coming out of the market, expects this thing to close either nearing 720 or below $7 a share. That's the volatility expectation heading into tomorrow, okay? So, it's time to make a decision about $7 a share. All right, now, of course, listen, the market volatility expectation can be incorrect, and if you disagree with that, that's an opportunity for you to go and take a position. That's the point. If you disagree on a number of factors and you have reason for disagreeing other than just it fits your confirmation bias, then that's actually a really great thing. That could be a position for you. But hang on, you're probably thinking, okay, that's great. You know, the volatility bias, that's helpful, but what about directional bias? All right, well, the volume here. A little over 91,000 total contracts traded today. Not tremendous volume, but something to work with. 69,000 calls and 22,600 puts. That's a call side bias here on the overall ratio. And if we break that down by the short-term speculators, guys, we have a little over 31,000 calls and just barely under 10,000 puts. So that's a reasonably heavy call side bias on both the short-term speculator front and on the overall ratio. Listen, if your goal here is to try to expedite the process of this trading deal, whether your goal is either full-time or even part-time or even just side hustle, that's exactly what I built our private community for over 3 years ago, and still in there every single day, working with the group to this day. So if you guys want to take a look at that, that's where I spend the entirety of Market Open. So you can join at that link in the pinned comment. I'll see you inside. And hey, if you're getting value out of these SoFi videos or any of the other stocks at all, please, I ask you to do one thing. Leave a like on the video, and then get out of here and enjoy your day. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.